Absolutely. And of course, there's ways of finding out if your child is not doing well and they're glued on, right? Like, are they isolated from you? Are they exhibiting other types of behaviors that need help? But if they're functioning very well and they're functioning with you, they're mixing, they're doing whatever, but they go on the screen. Well, if you look at what we do, as Lisa said, we are pretty much on the screen for most of our lives as well, right? And then, as I said, we do the best with what we have in front of us. So, yes, thank you so much for that. And so this is basically it, that self-compassion. That's your first tip, right? That if I start to give myself the break and lower that perfectionism that I have to try and make everything the way I need it to be, that helps with our parenting a lot. Okay. Um, and then,
Sister Rina, I think
yes.
Sister Tanya, she was raising the hand before too. So, Sister Tanya, if you have the question, you can just go ahead, please, briefly. Uh, okay, never mind. Fatima?
I would like to add just one or two lines more. We are just talking about only parenting and giving that strength to our children, but we can give this strength and support to our friends and our colleagues. We can support them too during these type of stress and depression moments. We can support those peoples too, because I have a friend, she is always there for me. She is listening everything and giving me that support, the way you were talking about, that yes, you can do it, you are able to do it, you are the best, you are doing good. And she is always supporting me. I don't know if she would like if I mention her name or not. I'm not sure, so that's why I'm not mentioning her name here. But yes, there is a support of your friends too, not only
Right.
the family members.
For sure. And that's what we're talking about here. Like, we're a whole bunch of strangers that went into 4 separate rooms and connected on one simple question. How has COVID changed your parenting? Right. And so we can definitely connect. And that's what, I'm here to tell you guys too, that as I said to you earlier, healing in the human race is through connecting. Right. A lot of our healing comes through sharing and connecting and being compassionate. And I'm just inviting you to bring that little bit of compassion towards yourself as well. Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you for that.
yeah.
So my second tip
I
would
want to say
Tanya.
something. Yeah, if you permit me, like, yeah, my children, like, I am always working lady, and my the children are little they are taken care of by their grandparents in back home country. So now we are in Canada. So when we are in new immigrants and low income, I get my education again, and I am engaged myself in a full time permanent job, regular job, because for surviving and running family. But my children, one of my child accused me that she is neglected, and that and sometimes so one children say each other like, you take care of him. And because my son needs more attention, he is not doing well in study, and his little anxiety and other things. So if I give more time for my son, my daughter is doing well, but my daughter is accusing like, I take care of my son more than her. But she's doing by herself well, and my son needs help. So, but my daughter said she is neglected from childhood, and I'm taking care more my son. And as I have to work, like, everything makes me like little nervous. And yeah, how can I
Yeah.
help my children? Like,
My dear, that's a good question. It's a very specific question to you, right? So, what I will say, I mean, there's most of us, and I'm going to just bring it back to all of us, is that guilt I was talking about earlier, right? Like, I don't know your particular situation in detail, but we do carry guilt of we're not doing enough, and so as a mom, sometimes we kind of think that we have to give each child 100%. But as we said, some kids may need more attention at certain times and just may require more from you than another child. And so that's something that you would have to assess as a mom, and again, seeking support out there from people for yourself, making sure that you're taking care of yourself so that you can give back to your children. And I know that's a broad answer, but it's very hard to answer sort of specifics. But I hope that helps a little bit. I'll just move on a little bit. We do have a time limit here. So the second tip I'm going to give you guys is this emotional awareness. And I think part of what we do is we continue to give and think that we can continue to give without giving ourselves. Okay, so emotions are really a natural part of our being, right? They're your communication system. They actually send signals to your brain to do something or not to do something. And so as social beings, we connect to other people, we get messages, we give messages, and we feel all the time. Right now, you're feeling sad, you're feeling happy, you're feeling excited, you're feeling bored. Everyone has a feeling at any given moment, right? So we're constantly feeling, but we don't pause to to notice what we're feeling. We just keep going. So that second tip I'm going to give you is that we have so many emotions, right? We can't go through every single one right now, right? But start to understand what these are, what they're telling you. When you feel fearful, your emotions are telling you to do something, right? When you feel angry, your emotions are telling you to do something. When you feel sad, maybe your emotions are telling you connect with somebody you love, slow down, or go take a shower or something, but your emotions actually speak to you. So really starting to understand what these emotions mean, okay? And so this you could do with your children as well, where you start to label your emotions, right? Do we know what makes us angry and what makes us happy? Right? Do we know what makes us feel guilty? We use guilt incorrectly most of the time, right? We just think that we as super moms should be doing everything. And then when we fall short of the one thing, we feel guilty. Okay. So really start to label your emotions. What is it that you feel? Where do you feel it? And, emotions actually, we feel them in our body. If you look at the slide here, anxiety is kind of like from the tip of your head to your pelvic area. It's when we feel anxious, we start to feel it in our body in those places. So each emotion has its own, place in its body. Start to understand what I'm feeling at a given moment, because at that moment, then you can find out ways of how to help yourself. If you're cooking and all of a sudden you start to feel very, very sad, right? You can recognize that. And you can say, okay, maybe after I finish cooking, I'm going to connect with my friend, right? Or I'm going to pray, or I'm going to sit down and read a book for myself, or paying attention to your needs is very key if you're always trying to pay attention to the needs of our children. Right? But we come second. Yet we want ourselves to respond to our children first. Well, if I'm angry and my child is sad, I'm not going to be able to respond, am I? Until I take care of that anger in the right way and then respond to the child. Okay, so part of this is learn your emotions, label them, learn where you feel them, learn what they're telling you, and learn ways of what to do with that particular emotion. So for example, sadness, right? A lot of the times we hear it's a negative emotion, get rid of it, snap out of it, no time to feel it, right? But the truth about sadness is actually a very lively emotion, right? It's telling you to go towards something, or it's telling you to stop and do something for yourself, right? We're just so used to pushing it down and distracting it with something else. But if you sit with sadness for a while, prolonged sadness, you need to talk to your doctor or somebody professional, but sometimes you just might feel it. Learn to sort of figure out what it's saying to you. Okay, maybe you're missing somebody, right? Maybe you haven't given time to yourself. Something's going on there that sadness is trying to tell you. Okay. And so asking yourself the question, what are the thoughts that happen in my brain when I'm sad? What does my body do and how do I behave? And once you understand that emotion, it will tell you what to do with it. Oh, when I'm sad, I feel it in my heart. And when I'm sad, it's usually because I'm missing someone. And I move away from people, but now I know I need to connect with people. right? So this takes effort. It's not like it starts happening automatically, but if you start to practice it slowly and pay attention to it slowly, it starts to become normal for you. Okay, same thing with anger. We tell kids, don't feel angry. Ourselves, we get mad at ourselves for feeling angry, right? Feel guilty because I got angry. I feel guilty because I shouted at my child and I got angry, right? But maybe if you listen to it, what is it telling you? Maybe it's telling you you're overworked. Okay. Maybe it's telling you you've put everybody in front of you except yourself. Maybe it's saying, go take a shower, right? Go calm down and take a shower for yourself, right? But start to notice, same thing as sadness. What do I say in my mind when I'm angry? How does my body feel? And how do I behave? And what can I start doing when I start to feel those things and think those things? Okay, again, it's a process, but listening to what your emotions are telling you is very, very key. Okay, so we're going to do the last breakout session because I want you guys to practice this. So in this breakout session, it might be a bit hard. There might be some quietness because you're not used to it. But you're going to break out into the groups again, and you're going to ask yourself, or ask each other, how do you know you're angry or sad or happy? Okay, what happens in your body? Have you even noticed that you feel it in your body? Right? There's some part of you that gets heavy or twisted or something happens. Okay, and what types of thoughts do I have when I'm angry or sad? Or even maybe you choose happiness. Okay, and then how do you behave? And so starting to see that people, and oh, forgive my typo right there, but starting to see that everyone sort of shares the same sort of feelings. Okay, so Nargis, do your magic and put us back into the breakout rooms, and I'll hop over to each session.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we're all back, and yeah, Rubina, the thing, what I do love about these breakouts is as I keep saying, right? I think you're gonna go off with this learning is we just learn from each other, just listening to you guys in this session, just advising, sharing, right? Giving each other strategies. A younger mom was asking an older mom, how do you deal with the emotions as they grow older? This is how we learn. This is how we cope, right? So when we think we don't know how to do it, reach out and share and talk. So yeah, I heard quite a few things. Some people know where they feel certain emotions in which part of their bodies. Some people had very good strategies that they do, such as going for walks and things like that. Other people said, no, we don't know how to handle these emotions, right? But that's why I'm inviting you to start small. And over time, it becomes habit. There was one question that was raised that I actually want to address. It does come up a lot in therapy as well, is when you're dealing with all these other emotions in the home, right? How do you deal with your own, right? I think it's very important, if we're going to normalize emotions and we're going to talk about them and we're going to process them, then it's important that our families know that, yeah, mommy feels emotions, right? Mommy does feel sad and happy and angry and joy. We're not made out of brick. Right? So we do feel. And so starting to say, if you see me cry, explaining to the child why you did it. We hold guilt. How dare I cry in front of my child, right? How dare I shout, or how dare my tone goes up? But sharing, right? You may not be proud of that moment, but saying, when mommy shouted, she shouldn't have. Mommy was just really tired. And so now that I'm rested, let's figure out how best we can do this next time. Right? So normalizing this in the home, that you are allowed to feel, is important. And it kind of helps your family help you as well. We don't have to be alone in this. Okay. And so, how does this help children? Exactly what we're talking about. The more emotionally aware we are of ourselves, the better we're able to tune into our children. If I know what I feel.
Sister Veena, there was a question in my breakout room that the sister really wanted to know, because she said that when she feels sad, she really wanted somebody to hold her hand.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, what she does is she ultimately holds her own hand. And she was really looking forward to have some kind of solution for you before we move forward. Please.
She wants me to comment to that.
Yes, please.
Okay, I think that's amazing that you can, I invite people to always hug themselves. If we were to just right now, I'm telling you guys, just give yourselves a big hug. Okay, just you can close your eyes for 5 seconds and kind of just hold yourself in that hug. If you can please mute yourselves, whoever's not muted. Okay, and we release something called oxytocin, right? That helps us, whether it's your touch or someone else's touch. But if the person, again, needs connection, it would be reaching out to their loved ones and things like that. If there's somebody that can hold their hand, but sometimes nobody's around, right? Sometimes no one's around, and we need to hold our hands. And that's the self-compassion. There's nothing wrong with holding your own hand. Okay, and so how does this help children? You know your signs of burnout, so you can intervene for yourself first so that you can take care of your families. Knowing this, you know when to take a break, because no mom or no father or no anyone is good on no break, right? That's where resentment and all these other feelings come out. Knowing these things, you know when to delegate. How can I ask for help? I can teach my 5-year-old to put clothes away or put their Legos away, right? It also helps to know when to say no. Do I have to say yes to everything in the day? Right? Does my house have to be spick and span at the end of the day? Do I have to help my child with every single thing in their homework today, right now? Right? I'm not feeling well. I know when to say no. It helps you to know when to seek help. Right? You're not alone in this. It's the main thing is that you're not alone in this. And doing all this helps with our parenting. Okay, people always often ask, like, you guys, how do I help my children? If you do these things yourself, your kids will model you. They copycat us all the time. And so by you expressing emotions, by you doing, saying, I'm taking a break for this, your kids start to copy you over time. Okay. How else do we help our children around COVID, especially? Be mindful of what you say and do around the house when it comes to your news consumption and things like that. A lot of people live with elders, so I put this in. As we reassure our children, we need to reassure our elders as well. Okay, helping them set boundaries if they're over-consuming media that they shouldn't, like children, if they're watching news too much, have too many questions, and they're anxious and getting false information. Okay, and always connecting your children and your elders and yourselves to meaningful community events. And I know the organizations here do stuff all the time. Okay. And so my last tip is the me time. And somebody mentioned that. And I call it me time because we need to create this nook, this space in our mind called me time. Just for me, whether it's 1 minute or an hour. Okay. Start creating this little space in your brain for me time, right? And for each person, me time looks different, right? Whether you're taking out 5 minutes of your day or 1 minute or 5 hours, depends on your kids and how much you have on your plate. Make a space in your home for you. When my kids were younger, I had a prayer mat. And on that prayer mat, I had all these things, my gratitude journal, my prayer beads, and I just had my mat. And as my children grew up and they saw me on that prayer mat, they would be able to not come to me for a couple of minutes because they'd realize, oh, she's on that mat, right? So our kids will see what we allow them to see, right? But if I keep getting off to attend to needs, then they know, oh, that's what we can do. Okay, I'll create a routine of some kind. Maybe you have small children and you can't. But maybe that routine means at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, I make a cup of tea for myself, right? Something very tiny, but it's that me time space that I matter. I do matter in this picture. And if I don't take care of me, then I can't take care of anyone around me that I love, right? Mindful breaks, every couple of hours, for those of us that pray 5 times, schedule in a break, 3 minutes of a break where you do some sort of breathing, journaling, nothing. I remember when my kids were young, I used to stare at the wall and someone would come in and say, "What are you doing?" I'd be like, "I'm actually just doing nothing." I enjoy staring at the wall because I haven't gotten to do that all day, right? So for those of us with little ones, we know how much pleasure staring at a blank wall is, right? So schedule that where you're just sitting with you. Okay. And the take home there is that small steps, have big changes. So a lot of us, I get the question, but I have so many kids or I have little children. I'm not saying go out for an hour and a half and go bike ride. I know you can't do that, right? But I'm sure we can make a cup of tea and just say, this is for me. Okay. Abiha, you have a question?
I had a comment about when you said me time, and that has really worked for me. I'm a mom of 4. But the one other thing that my husband and I started doing way back when my firstborn was a toddler, or no, not with the firstborn. We were still experimenting and learning with her. But with the secondborn, when we were felt we were the pro parents, is could never enjoy a dessert or an ice cream, just the 2 of us. Or we had stopped buying adult desserts because we would end up buying the ice cream that the kids liked. So my husband started getting this ice creams just for the 2 of us, me and him. And 2 a.m, we would wake up from our sleep and we would eat it.
Oh,
and he would wake me up and he'd say, "It's ice cream time," or whatever the fancy dessert was.
Right.
And I would wake up and would eat in bed. It was a bliss. It was a bliss.
That I never heard, but I do love it.
A dessert, because we didn't have to share it with the kids. And then as the kids grew up, they found out, but we said, "This is an adult dessert. You can't eat." Now my kids are adult, but they're still not allowed to eat this dessert. It's a midnight snack.
Right.
And we still do this.
Yeah. And that's the power of habit. That's why I said start small.
It just
right?
felt that victory of doing something away without our kids. I know quite a few of my friends at that time said, "Oh, that's mean, that's nasty." I'm like, well, I did feel guilty a few times, but it felt good.
Yes. And it makes you a better parent, right? The take home there is that me time, even though that guilt, comes in, it's displaced guilt. It's not the right emotion, right? It makes you better at what you want to do. We talked about burnout, and one of the signs being you having disinterest in the things that you love, right? So you doing these small things for yourself is preventing you from experiencing burnout. Okay. And so I'll go through these ones a bit fast because it's heavy, but essentially what we're talking about is called increasing protective factors. Okay. These are factors that decrease the likelihood of negative outcomes, right? So things like family, friends, your environment, your safety, religion, connecting with people, your ice cream time, right? Your visits to the doctor, these are you increasing protective factors. So as you go on from today, start to think, how can I increase these protective factors in my life, as small as they are? Okay, because the other part is the risk factors. If we have risk factors, and we don't increase our protective factors, then we can fall into experiencing mental health problems. Okay. So even when I work with mental health, one of my goals is, what are your protective factors? How can we use those? And how can we increase those protective factors? Okay. So all here are just things that we've been talking about. And so I do have an Islamic connection here. And for those of you who are not of the religion, we can talk about whatever your connection is, whatever spiritual beliefs that you have. In Islam, we believe that, we think that it's only about fasting and praying and providing charity, right? But a lot of our teachings, whichever religion you're from, but in Islam, we learn we do have to have time for self, body, mind, and soul, right? We learn about our mind when we're praying. We learn about our body when we're fasting and moving in our prayer. We learn about our soul when we're praying to God. That is literally time for yourself, right? We learn about time for family, the reward we get for spending time with family. We learn about the reward we get for time, with our community. all the volunteering work and all the stuff that you do for community is part of the religion as well. And then we have time for spiritual practices. Okay. So asking yourself, am I balancing all this together? Right. Because my religion is more than just the praying and the providing money or charity or fasting. My religion asks me all these questions. It encompasses all these questions. Okay. And so I think let me just take a look at that. Right. Okay. And so I know there's a lot. It's a very loaded discussion. And honestly, if I could just have this discussion in the breakout rooms, I think you guys would learn so much from each other. But unfortunately, I had to sort of bring it in and talk about many things because I wanted to sort of throw a lot at you. We're a lot of people, and we'll all take away something different that we may go and explore further. Okay. And so your takeaways, your self-care does matter. That me time we're talking about is essential to your parenting. Okay. Looking for self-regulation moments in the day. Now, for me to be self-compassionate, I have to be mindful. For me to be mindful, I have to know, how do I feel emotion? What do I do with that emotion? Okay. And part of this is, with women, somehow we always have to connect self-care with our children. So I'm going to say it. The more you self-care, the better parent you become. Okay. And so recognizing your needs ultimately helps you to recognize the needs of your children and your family. And there's so many connections. There's so many resources out there, including Sound Vision, there's just so many. I put whatever I put on my usual slides, but I'm sure the organizations, including myself, can send you guys whatever it is that you're looking for pertaining to your needs. And in short of 5 minutes. So I did well. I think I pushed through, but I know there's a lot more to discuss. And so I'll kind of open it up to you guys because I did miss hands coming back and forth. And so this is your chance to sort of ask any questions. Thank you so much for listening to me. But the platform's yours now.
Sharika is the first
Yes.
one to go.
Yeah, hi. I just want to show you a different angle. Like most of the people, their kids are at home, but in my situation, all of my kids are healthcare workers. So my eldest son, he works in the hospital. So all of them are working in healthcare. So at the first, when the COVID started, I was pretty much like, scared. I should say scared, yes, because of my son. And then he said that, Mom, you have belief and you have faith. Someone needs to go out for everyone. And I realized, and it increased, this COVID situation, it increased my faith. And I learned, I usually do my prayers and I tell my kids also to do that. But that was something. And for my self time, yes, having some chocolate, having tea, and the praying time is my time. This is something like which me and my Lord alone. So that is also, I consider it as a me time.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That's excellent. And I think a lot of the other moms with the little ones can also take a lot from that. Anybody else that had questions up that I was not able to answer, I mean. All right, I think we're at a wrap, Nargis. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Rina. Inshallah, everybody got from this session what they wanted. If there's anything else that you would have liked, you could mention it now. We could always do another session, inshallah. I think Faika wants to ask something. Yes, go ahead, Faika.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. I just want to ask Karina, is there any way like you can provide therapy services for someone, for individual? Any contact information from you?
Yeah, for sure. I can put it in the chat if you Cedar Way Therapy is the name of the organization, and you can reach out, and it's you can Google it, or you can put, you can email me at Cedar Way Therapy, and I can help connect you. There's a whole bunch of other therapists there as well. So yeah, that's the organization that I'm part of, and you guys can reach out and I can direct you to what you need.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I think we did a great job by being here and doing everything on time. Inshallah, you all benefited and you'll be able to take care of yourselves. Just remember soundvisioncanada.org. We are a charitable organization that puts out all these type of different trainings that you need. If you ever have a need and you feel that your community has a need of a training, please send an email to info@soundvisioncanada.org. And we try to find the best trainer for you and facilitate training for you. And if you're able to donate, please do go online and do that. Sign up for the newsletter. We do have professional development trainings coming up. So inshallah, we will see you soon, hopefully in another training. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Assalamu alaikum.
One more time, email address, please.
Oh, you can email at info@cedarway Therapy, or if you want me
Can you-
directly, it's
Can
Rina.
can you share in the chat box?
Is it .ca, Zarina? I'm writing it down.
Yes, it's, oh my goodness, I'm on this one. It's info@cedarwaytherapy.com, or you can email me at rina@cedarwaytherapy.com.
Okay, thank you.
.com, not the .ca.
Yes.
There we go.
Maybe Rabina can share this like on our group chat, as she usually does, links after the fact. And
Yes.
then we'll
I'll do
have the info we need. And I don't know for the people for other groups, same thing.
I'll definitely do that. Yes. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending the workshop, and definitely a good takeaway for everybody. Thank you very much, Rina and Nargis, for making this happen. And I hope that we will connect with you in the future as well. So thank you, everybody, for being here, and see you soon.
Thank you. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
I'll give you a call.
Assalamu alaikum.